Hello, rising seniors. It's your high school counselors. All five of us have come together to do a presentation about the college application process. We would normally be coming into your junior English classes, spending 90 minutes with you. And we loved it because you had great questions and feedback and input. It was a great discussion. But we don't have that option now. So we are doing this video for you, and we will all be sharing our information on slides. And this is all new to us, so give us grace. But we do want to acknowledge that, first of all, we know this has been hard for a lot of you, not being at school, not doing your sports or performances, and we miss you, and our hearts break for all that you're missing this year. But at the same time, it's been so impressive to see how resilient you all are and how you look for the good in things and how you've made the best out of very challenging situation. And so we are really hoping that all of you are staying healthy and well, and your families. And quite honestly, we can't wait to get back to school when it's safe to be with everyone, because quite honestly, meeting with you is the best part of our day.
Amen.
So we're going to jump into our slideshow now. Okay, so this slide right here, we would normally be sharing this video with you. This video is taken from CBS News. It is Frank Bruni is speaking on there with the news crew about 4 years ago, when the new admissions process recommendations became nationwide news. It was a result of Harvard Graduate School report. And so we would normally watch this with you. It's a very short video, so we're really going to ask you to watch that on your own. You're going to get some really great information. I'm just going to go over some of this is a screenshot from the video, so I'll go over some of the highlights. But I want to let you know a lot has happened in 4 years since Harvard made those sweeping recommendations to the admissions process. So 150 colleges, their deans of admissions, has signed a document saying that they are committed to reviewing college applications through this lens with the changes that were recommended. 200 colleges have endorsed it, and there now is a second report as well that makes many recommendations for schools and actually parents and students. We'll have both reports up for you and a resource folder. But basically, it's not how much you can do, but really just they want quality over quantity. So this race to do so much and stack so much and volunteer so many places is quite honestly a little concerning to them. So slow it down, and all of you are really thinking carefully about the time in your day and keeping a healthy balance. They're very concerned with AP course overloads, so take AP classes that interest you. And even I would go say you would say you have a passion in, but don't pile them on because you want to look good for college. And this discourage over coaching is about too many adults having their hands on your application. And students always ask, well, how do they know? Well, there's a different way adults write. Even if you're a really good writer, you're still a teenager. And you see things differently, quite honestly, and you write differently. And it's refreshing to the colleges to read essays from a teenage perspective. So reduce the test pressure. We see that all over. We get emails every day about another college that has gone to test optional. and really expand the thinking of what is a good college, because a good college is the college that's a good fit for you. So we're seeing this just play out, quite honestly, during this time. Colleges have talked about doing away with the ACT and SAT for years. Those test scores really have no indication how well you're going to do in college or in life or in your career. So as you probably heard the news a couple weeks ago, our UC system has done away with those tests. So, and also, again, they're really stressing, every time I meet with an admission officer in these past couple weeks, they always bring this up. So really just keeping in mind, keeping a healthy balance. So Gina, we're ready for you.
So you'll be using multiple platforms in order to apply for colleges. One of the most common ones that we see students use is called the Common Application, or Common App. And for this one, it will help you create your general information so you don't have to fill it out multiple times. So there's hundreds, over 750 colleges that use this, that you can research schools on and add to your list. And then you would only have to type in that general information one time. The other applications that you can use are Coalition. Coalition is very similar to the Common App. It has certain schools on it. Some schools prefer it. This one is not as common as the Common App, but it is also there for your use, and you can look into and see which one works best for you with all the schools that you are going to be applying to. But like I said, Coalition is not one that students use very often, but it is available. And then another platform that you will be using if you are applying to a UC, the UCs in Cal States have their own platforms. They do not use Common App. So most students at CDM, if you're going to apply to a UC, a Cal State, and other schools, you will use 3 platforms to apply. So you want to make sure that you create an account on UCs, and you'll also want to create an account on the Cal States.
Well, we will be using Naviance for most of your college submissions, but there's always exceptions, and the exceptions go like this. The CSUs and the UCs, they do not require letters of recommendation, or they haven't in the past, or they don't require the initial transcript. However, we are moving into a direction with some of the UCs or the Cal States that may be asking for LORs, letters of recommendation. Also, the next exception is that if you're a recruited athlete, you are still going to, we will require you, and they do require you to have a counselor letter recommendation, which is known as the written evaluation.
So like Ms. Rivacek mentioned, our letter, the one coming from the counselor, is not going to be called generally a letter of recommendation, even though that's what it really is. You'll see it more familiar term as a written evaluation. So that's would be allow you to know the difference between a teacher one and the counselor one. In Naviance, this is what your counselor will be able to see. And we're just showing you so that you can see exactly what we submit on your behalf. So everything that we submit is vital and important. And you'll see that there are separated. The letter of recommendation would be for the teacher, written evaluation would be for the counselor. We also send the school profile, which is a compilation of a bunch of data for our school, and we also send our school report. This is just familiarizing you with, if you see this in Naviance, the written evaluation. Some of them are not required for certain colleges. For instance, University of Michigan does not require a written evaluation from your counselor. University of Northern Carolina, Chapel Hill is not required by your counselor. But if they do require one, it'll be listed here as to whether or not your counselor will be submitting a letter of recommendation or a written evaluation for you.
So we just want to remind you, if you believe your school, or say you're applying to Michigan, so you don't put it on your college list for us, thinking that we don't have to do anything else. And just as Ms. Nyholt showed you on the previous slides, the University of Michigan is a Common App school. We still need to send all those other documents she talked about. I know Chapel Hill, while they don't require it, they will read it. And they've told me that sometimes kids that have been on the, you know, the cuff of whether to accept or not, that the letter pushed them over. So just always list your colleges on your list, whether it's written evaluation is required or not.
And then in Naviance, you're going to see 3 different little icons. The first one is Common App. So that's just, CA is just telling you that it is a Common App school. So if you apply in the Common App application, you should be able to find that college. The middle one is saying that they do accept electronic submissions, but not just Common App, or they might have their own sort of system, but they do accept electronic submissions. And then for the ones that are marked with a little stamp, that used to literally mean paper, but there's no schools that so if it's listed like that, it'll be that they have probably their own system that we will have to determine how we submit it for you. Sometimes they ask you to, once you apply, they will send you information as to how to submit your application that way. But it used to mean actually paper, but not anymore. And then again, so this is just showing you when you see your list of schools, for instance, SMU is going to be a Common App school. And University of Texas at Austin, again, so it has the little computer screen. It's just telling you that they do submit electronically. And then Georgetown is very, it used to be specifically paper. We would have to mail them, but they no longer accept it that way. They will send you information as to how you would submit your application to them. And for UC Berkeley, they also, you would apply through generally speaking, through the UC system, but UC Berkeley has their own type of submission that's special. So you will get information from them once you submit your application to them.
And then this leads us into talking about adding colleges to your list. So you will add in 2 places your colleges. You're going to list them here in Naviance, so you can add them manually by going to your colleges I applied to list and clicking that pink plus sign on the right-hand side. When you click it, you'll be able to type up the name of the college, and then you'll also want to know if you plan to apply through Common App or not, if it is a Common App school. Another option, we started having you put colleges into your I'm thinking about list the last 2 or 3 years. So you can also go to your colleges I'm thinking about list, check all the boxes, and then move them right over into your colleges I'm applying to list. So you're just going to need to make sure that all the colleges you're applying to are in that colleges I'm applying to list, so that we know that they're in there and we're able to send all the documents.
Ms. Nyholt?
Oh,
Go with the first
is that me? I'm so sorry. Okay, so you will be filling out your FERPA in the Common App process. It's mandatory. You cannot not fill it out. So that's going to be part of that application through Common App. And then you also are going to have to match your Naviance and your Common App in order for us to go ahead and submit documents for you. So that is a very vital part of the process, is matching your Naviance to your Common App account. And it has a video on there for instructions.
And then now to talk about the packet. So we will be doing the packet all electronically this year. We'll be using Google Classroom. So you might be familiar with Google Classroom with using for your teachers. So each counselor is going to have their own Google Classroom. You're looking at Miss Reed's as a example, but Miss Nyholt, Miss Ribicek, Miss Garrett's, and myself, Mrs. Madden, will all have our own Google Classroom. You'll get a School Loop email that will have a class code for you to add into the Google Classroom. So you will all be responsible for joining that Google Classroom for your counselor using that class code. So make sure you're checking your School Loop in the next couple of days so that you can add that in, be a part of the classroom and get all this information. You can kind of see it listed. There's some assignments. We have them all in there. Anything new that comes up we'll have in there. There's also going to be resources available. So any extra articles or documents that we think would be helpful, we will put that in there for you as well.
Okay, and really what's important, and I emphasize important, is that when you submit your letters or your packets to your teacher or to your counselors, we really expect to see these packets 4 weeks ahead of the deadline that it's due. So we will be accepting your applications on September 1st if you have an October 1st deadline. And I think everybody's smart enough, we can do the math. So most of the deadlines that are coming up, you just need to know that it goes 4 weeks before that. So we expect that you guys will do the same for your teacher. And we know that you're going to be punctual with this, and we appreciate your punctuality. Thank you.
And when you add your 4 weeks, when you count them up, remember you don't want to include holidays because your counselors will be enjoying the holidays as well with their families. So November, you'll have to remember Thanksgiving week, and then in December, the 2 weeks for Christmas.
Okay, so what goes into your virtual college packet for your counselor? The very first thing is going to be your list of colleges, and we do want to see every college that you are applying to, and we also want to see if perhaps you might be taking a gap year, perhaps you're going to be thinking of joining the military, perhaps you're going to be considering a community college, perhaps you're going to be considering even working for the first year right out of high school. Whatever your plans are for after high school immediately, we would like you to list it on this list, please. You would definitely have to look up your deadlines and make sure you indicate those there on your sheet. That's very, very important. This is a form that is indicating that you understand that if you add a college to your list, it is vital that you follow these steps. So if you add a college, you must add that college to Naviance. That is the only way that we'll be able to communicate with your college or submit documents for you, is if you add the college to Naviance. If you do not do that, we cannot send anything on your behalf. The second step would be to email both your counselor and your teachers who are writing those letters for you and tell them to please add that college, or not that they're going to add it for you, but you've already added it to Naviance and you're letting them know that you've added that college. And your counselor will respond to your email to confirm your addition. That's really important. So you need to make sure you get that confirmation. If you've not received a confirmation email from your counselor, your addition has not been confirmed. So please feel free to send a second email if you do not receive a confirmation within 5 business days from your counselor. That's not for your teachers. This is only would be from your counselor confirming this for you. And then the third step is for you to go ahead and request that transcript through Scribbles. That is a very important step as well, that you, and all of these steps are important, but that's very vital.
So the next thing that you'll be doing is your counselor written evaluation questionnaire. So this is so we can get to know you a little bit more. I know we usually have limited time to meet with you, or maybe we just haven't seen you in our office to get to know you, or maybe we just want to get to know you a little better. So these questions are going to be part of that packet that you're going to be turning in. So it is going to be a Google form. It'll be in the Google Classroom. It's assignment number 5. You just click the link in the assignment, and then you're going to fill out the questionnaire. Just go through the different questions. Be as detailed as you can, because your counselor is going to be really using this to write your letter. So the more information we have, the better we can get to know you. If we have questions, of course, we'll reach out to you personally, but this is a great, starting point for us. So just make sure that you do this in the Google Classroom for one of the assignments. Then we also ask your parents to fill out a questionnaire. It's a much shorter questionnaire than yours, but they do give us a lot of great information and, a different perspective of you, that they've seen you grow and go through the years. So we ask your parents to fill this out. You'll see it's number 6 on the assignments in the Google Classroom. There's a link you can either give to your parents. You can just email it to them. We have it open for, anyone with a link to fill out. Or they can click the link from your Google Classroom and fill it out, whatever is easiest, but they'll go through, again, tell them that, this is for your letter, for your counselor, for us to get to know you and, have some more information. So just make sure they fill out all those questions for us.
So there is also in the Google Classrooms, one of your assignments is to put your essays in. And really don't stress too much about this, because we know that you will be working on many drafts. And so don't think it has to be perfect to turn it in to the Google assignment, because we just want the meat of the essay. We're not going to be looking at typos and such. Just give us the rough drafts, and a lot of you will be applying to some UCs, so they have shorter personal insight questions that are really good, and we would love to see some of those. If you're using Coalition or Common App, their essay prompts, would love for you to include those as well. And so as you know, we already talked about, this application process is going to be so different for your class for many reasons because of the pandemic. But the colleges are all saying your essays are going to be very important this year. Every year they're getting more and more important as they're really making a shift to this new application process. But character is a huge important quality that all the colleges are going to be looking at. And they say the best way that they get a glimpse of you is through these essays, and also from your teacher and counselor letters. So be very thoughtful, make sure they're written by you, and be thinking about maybe even over the summer start getting some rough drafts out. Common App, and I'm guessing most likely every other college, is going to be adding a specific question about the COVID virus and your time with distance learning, and more from the aspect of did you take time to have reflection? How has this changed some of your perspectives during this very historic time?
Okay, if you haven't done a resume at this time, it's a pretty good darn time to do it. We appreciate that in your packet, mainly because it gives us all the information that we might not find in other areas, like on the survey. However, some things to know that this resume, you should always have one anyway, just when you're applying for a job or anything like that. But you can put your summary of accomplishments down. There are great templates in the Naviance program, as well as you can find them free online and use that as a model to fill in the blanks. But you basically want to include things like your work experience, volunteer experience, internship experience, your awards is great, any positions you've done, any clubs you've been in, all that stuff is really great. even your travel experiences. Colleges love to hear about where you've been and maybe what you've done. Some of you have like done wonderful things working on projects overseas in a summer camp, maybe in Europe somewhere or South Pacific. Whatever it is, all that is really rich, and we want to endorse that when we write your written letter of evaluation for the colleges. So please include that. Don't embellish anything. You don't need to do that. It's us. And you just always want to be, the rule is ATTT. It's ATTT, stands for always tell the truth. So do that, and we'll be writing you a darn good recommendation and evaluation.
You know, I think that's a good point Ms. Ribicek brings up. This year, we've been contacted by a couple of colleges wanting to confirm some of the community service hours students have listed, the same as you would list on your resume for us. And just kind of wondering if they did the enormous amount of hours that were written down that would have occurred during the school year. So be very careful, be accurate, and as Ms. Ribicek said, to not embellish.
Okay, and then there's the famous FERPA. What does it stand for? Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act. So you have the right and to have privacy, and you have the right to sign yes or no to what we are about to write about you. And the colleges actually prefer you to say, yes, I waive my rights. So what does that mean? It says that I trust my counselor, I trust my teacher, that they're going to say all the best things about me that they can. If you check no, it's basically saying I don't trust my teacher, and they raise a suspicion in the minds of the college admissions panel. So it's in your best interest to check yes. And again, that needs to be signed for anybody doing a letter of recommendation or a written evaluation on you.
Okay, so for your college, for your counselor college packet checklist, your deadlines are going to be very, very important to follow. Like we said before, we definitely need at least 4 weeks before your first deadline. And we want you to be aware that this year especially is probably going to be very unconventional. Deadlines might change depending on the school. So you're going to have to really be very cognizant of knowing and figuring out what deadlines that have changed or not changed, but always make sure that you're going to give your counselor and your teachers 4 weeks in order for them to write your letter. So the checklist is going to include all of the colleges you're planning to apply to must be listed in Naviance. You're going to request your transcript through Scribbles. All the colleges you're planning to apply to must be listed on the college packet form with the correct application deadline. You're going to need to have your student counselor written evaluation questionnaire. You need to make sure your parents have completed their questionnaire. You're going to need your resume done. You're going to have to include your essay prompts. Again, they can be rough drafts. You have to go ahead and sign your FERPA, again, not only in Common App, but also in our assignments. And if you are adding or removing colleges, you must look at that form to acknowledge that you understand what the process is. And all 8 items are to be completed, and email your counselor to let your counselor know that your college packet is ready to review. So once you have all of those done, that is when you would email your counselor to say, I'm done, please take a look at my assignments. And your counselor will then go ahead and set up a time to meet with you so they can review your packet to ensure that all the required information is properly completed.
Okay, so the one thing that is going to be very important for this year when completing your college packet is requesting your transcript through Scribbles. Scribbles is our online system that we use for sending official transcripts to colleges. So when we go to the CDM website and we are looking for it, it's under quick links, and it is transcripts down at the bottom. So you're going to want to go ahead and click on transcript request, and this will bring you to the current student records request. You always want to make sure that you are under current students because you are currently still a student. So you will fill out all of the identifying information that is required. Make sure that you leave any of that blank, or don't leave any of that blank. It probably would be helpful to put your student ID number in there. It is not required, but the more information, the better. So you'll want to fill out all of that. And then the next part is very important to make sure that you are selecting that you want it for college, and that you are going to select an official transcript. The reason why we want official is because that shows that this is, you know, there's no pending information on there. It's coming directly from the school, and it can be used for college application use. This is also known as the initial transcript. So if you see some colleges saying that they want an initial transcript, same thing as official. You'll also want to keep in mind at the bottom, it says mid-year official transcript, and this occurs, and you will want to request it at the end of your semester, first semester senior year, once those grades are final. And then again, at the end of second semester senior year, you'll want to request a final end of the year official transcript. So you will, on a minimum, be going in here and doing this 3 times next year. The cost of all of this is free. There is never a cost for you to send your official transcript while you are a current student. But please keep in mind, once you request your first batches of colleges, if you added any colleges, you have to go back in and request another official transcript to be sent, and you will go through the same process.
Is this Miss Nyholt? Sorry.
Yes, or
Yes.
Miss Madden, whoever.
Okay. Okay, so the teacher letter of recommendation packet is going to also have your list of colleges and deadlines that you should complete for the teacher. And I would let them know too if you, you know, what all your existing plans are after high school.
So you'll also see in the Google Classrooms of all of your counselors, under the resources that we talked about, we are also going to include some of the teacher packet documents. So you'll see the teacher college application list, which was just what the slide was before, where you list out all the colleges that you're going to apply to for your teachers and put the deadlines. And then we also have the teacher questionnaire that you'll fill out for each different teacher, because it is subject specific. So you will be filling it out, you know, based on the class you were in with that teacher. So those are going to be under the college packet resources. You need to fill these out and email them directly to your teacher. So these are not going to your counselor. You're not turning these in as any assignments for your counselor. These go specifically to your teachers that you're asking for letters of rec from. So make sure that you save them as a document somewhere. And when you email your teacher asking them to write your letter, you can ask them, you know, if they want these 2 documents as well.
Okay, so in Naviance, you're going to want to also list the teachers that will be your recommenders. And you should have already talked to the teacher and they have accepted that they will do your letter of recommendation. Some teachers do put a cutoff. They'll only take, say, 20. And so you will want to ask teachers now, because there's also some teachers that do their letters of recommendations over the summer, or some just want to already know the students that they will be writing letters for when they come back to school in fall. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go into Naviance, and then you're going to go under colleges. And from there, you're going to go to apply to college, and then select letter of recommendation, and this will show up right here. So you're going to the right, just select add a request. And this is where there's going to be a drop down window where you're going to select the teacher. And then this step 2 is very important. And kids usually slip right up through this and just select this one, all current and future colleges. So I'm going to show you on the next slide why it's very important to either choose specific college, where you would assign a teacher to a specific college, or if you're going to just let them write for all of your colleges. Don't forget to say some kind words and thank your teachers for the time they're going to put into your letter. So at this slide, you're going to see, for example, that Notre Dame only allows one. So back on the slide we just went to, this slide, if you had just chosen all current future colleges for that teacher, all your teachers, whoever got their letter in first is the one that Notre Dame will get. The other teachers will be blocked at that point. So you want to be very careful, check your list, and select wisely.
So this again is the teacher letter of recommendation packet. Just like the counseling packet, we have an easy breezy way for you to know if you got everything that you needed into this electronic packet. So here's the documents that are required: a copy of the student information teacher recommendation, your resume, a copy of your unofficial transcript, the FERPA, and if a college does not accept electronic submissions, please see one of us.
It is really important, you guys, that you start being very diligent about your emails. Sometimes colleges will even go to the extent of sending you something just to see if you do apply. And so it shows a lot of whether or not you're paying attention and how much interest you truly have in that college if you respond to that email appropriately. So it's very important that you check all of your email. We highly recommend that you create a specific email just for your college applications. Is always and always make it professional. So hotbabe2000 is a cute email for your friends, but for colleges it should be a lot more professional and very easy for the colleges to use, not adding too many different types of I can't think, sorry. What am I thinking about? Not letters, but
Special characters.
thank you. Special characters, not adding those, because that'll make it just difficult and they might mess it up and not get your email to you. So make it simple.
And then just to add into that one, sorry. So we have our own counseling school loop email. It's called Do Not Reply Counseling. It's really, really important your senior year to be checking for emails that come from that Do Not Reply Counseling school loop specifically. It's pretty much a lot of senior stuff, especially in the fall, that we send out through there. We will be using Google Classroom as well to give announcements, but just make sure, I know you get a lot of school loop stuff, but if it's from counseling, it means it's really important, and, make sure you look at it, check it, daily or, every other day, so that you can make sure you stay on top of it.
Okay, so we know we have all have gone over a lot of information. So this video will be available so you can watch it and maybe go to a section that, seemed a bit fuzzy for you, or when you come back to school in August, if you want to, look at it one more time. But we want you to really just pace yourself. If you start in the summer, maybe with some rough drafts, but don't get overwhelmed. This is, a huge milestone, and we do want you to enjoy it. It is time consuming. Every year we hear from our seniors that they really had no idea how much time that this whole process of applying to college would take. We're here to help you, and we hope this information was helpful. This video, the link at the bottom, I included, and I hope you take time to watch it. It is 45 minutes. The author, Frank Bruni, he was also in the front video that we were going to show you if we had gone into your classrooms, but he wrote a book, Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be, and it was prompted from his time at Yale. He's a professor at Yale. He teaches a creative writing class that's very popular. And so he looked really into where do the students that go to Ivy League colleges end up later in life. And so it's a really interesting read, and this link will give you a 45-minute overview of all of that. So here we all are. To wish you well. We hope you are able to get out and stay safe, but enjoy your summer. and we hope to be all together again soon. So see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.